that suit warm? Warmer than no suit. Oh my gosh. Oh, Sandra. Oh my God. Can I help you?
No, I'm good.
Oh my God.
That feels so good. That's not really that cold. I know that sounds silly.
It does sound silly, but I'll take you for your word.
I know that has something to do with doing it in the fall. Hi. Sandra Owens here. I am down at my lake. It's early March, and there's just a little bit of the inlet open. So this is a lake, not a river. And I'm gonna go in for a quick dip, or I can't really swim. There's not enough open water to really swim in, so it's just getting myself acclimated back to spring swimming. But there's an ice shelf there that I'm really interested in just sort of peeking under. Again, it's not a river, so there isn't a current, so I don't feel afraid of being like trapped under the ice. I wouldn't do it if I felt like that. But I'm curious. I'm interested. So I don't want to let my fear of the ice keep me from trying something that I want to do. So a bunch of years ago, I sort of came up with a little way of not getting rid of fear. I don't think of fear as as like a foe that I have to beat or conquer. I think of it as something that's always there, a gift, part of my package of gifts that I have that keep me alive. But the problem with fear, I feel, is that it has control issues. It has one speed, high, it's always on, and it always thinks I'm going to die. So it's always just like saying, stop, stop, stop. So I felt like that was really keeping me from doing things that I wanted to do. So I just did, there's a few things that I do. One that I started to do a few years ago, which was I thought of fear as an entity, like a character. And I gave it sort of like a human face, kind of a name, face kind of thing. And in my mind, invited it in like a guest for tea, you know? And I sort of like opened the door, let it in, sat around a table, and just said, thank you. Thank you for saving my life over and over again, many times. I'm really grateful. I really appreciate you. I revere you. I have respect for you. But I need to shift our relationship. And I'm in the driver's seat now. I can drive the ship. So I'm going to put you in the back, and I have this rear view mirror so I can see you. And whenever I need you, I know where to find you. You know, like I can bring you up. But I really shifted my relationship with fear versus something that I felt I had to conquer. Because it's good. You know, you never want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, or I guess the lake water, or whatever. So I'm going to shift my hat from my winter hat and put my earplugs in, because cold water in your eardrums, And I'm not suggesting anybody else do this. I just have become very in love with listening to my own wild voice. It took me a while to discover who my wild voice was, what my wild voice was, to wake it up. And now that she's awake, she sleeps no more. Because it never steers me wrong. It's the one inner voice that's not a gremlin, like it is balanced. It's totally balanced, and it's my guide. It has my best interest at heart. So whenever I'm listening to my wild voice, I'm therefore not listening to the gremlins. And whenever I'm listening to the gremlins, I'm not listening to my wild voice. So it really helps me sort of shift back into the right relationship with things. It does mean I'm in the driver's seat. So that means on days like today, when I wake up and I don't feel very well, I skied 11 miles on the Catamount Trail the other day, section 11. I'm skiing from the Mass border to the Canadian border, and it's 31 sections, and total it's 311 miles. So they're an average of 10 to 12 miles, something like that, in the wilderness, in the mountains of Vermont, very remote. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. Some days are harder than others. And the other day, it was an 11-mile ski in deep snow that was, deepish snow that was sticky. So it kept sticking to the skis. And it was brutal. It was just brutal. By the second hour, my back was straining and hurt. About 3.5 hours into it, I kind of bonked. Like I was like running out of energy. I was nauseous. I was feeling a little dizzy. The internal whining was going on. But fortunately, because I've been practicing meditation and some mindfulness, I was able to kind of like calm myself down a little bit, enough to keep going and just sort of be like embracing slower, which is with my snow swimming that I started in the fall. That was one of the main reasons that I started it, because I got a bunch of speeding tickets and I wanted to embrace slower so that I would go the speed limit. Everything's connected for me. It's crazy. It's very experiential. Like everything that happens here happens in my physical world too. I love it because it's very exhilarating and exciting and fun. And that's how I stay healthy. I don't have to go to a gym or anything. Like, I'm just playing. I'm just outside playing. So when I listen to my wild voice, I'm playing. So anyways, it was a really tough day to ski the other day, and it took 6.5 hours, kind of nonstop, crossing streams, like these steep embankments. It was just really, really tough. And this is 2 days later, and it sort of caught up with me, and everything hurts and feeling sore. And so this morning, it's like, well, I know how to make this better. I know how to be weller. But when you're in the driver's seat, then like you're making that decision. I'm making that decision. So it's empowering though, It's like not looking around for somebody else to figure it out. It's figuring it out myself. I never regret it. Never. Even when days that are hard, So I know that this swim is going to like blast me right out of the feeling a little like kind of thing. It's a happy heart attack. It's just going to pull me right out of it. Plus, I'm going to do something I really want to do, which is sort of check out under the ice. Want to come with me? Okay, let's go.
Hardest part is buoyancy. It won't really let me get under very well. Some people like bopping up against the ice. It's cool though, huh? Got my shoes. Oh, it's not bad. It's really not bad. Oh my gosh. See, like my heart already is like, wah! It works every time. You just blast it right out of you. Getting these off is kind of hard. Kind of have to slow down your like heart and get yourself very one at a time. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. I leave my keys in the truck because sometimes when you go swimming like that, your feet and hands get really numb, and I don't have to worry about getting the keys back in the ignition, but they're not bad. My hands and feet, and it's a standard, so you need both your feet and your hands. But I have to say that skiing in the spring, which it's March, so it's still winter, we're supposed to get snow 3 days this week. I'm really excited. So I'll be able to shift back to skiing later this week when we get some fresh snow, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully I'll get another section in on the Catamount Trail. But today, like, I already feel so much better. So much better. Oh my goodness, it did. It just blasted any, like, me, the whiny. Whenever I'm whining, I'm not trying, and vice versa. And I can just, like, immediately, it's like, if I hear myself whining, it's like, okay, time to switch that, trying to shift my mind. That was incredible. Yeah, so, like, buoyancy is the biggest challenge with that, because you just, like, bop up against the bottom of the ice, so I can't, like, go under it like a fish without putting weights on, which I could go home and tie some rocks to my waist, I guess. But anyways, it was just it's just cool to go under there and see it. It's getting thinner. It was like last week, it was about 13 inches. Now it's like maybe 10. So it's getting thinner. Spring is coming. And I can't believe how much warmer the water feels than it did in December. December 24th was the last day that I went swimming before it iced over with my friend Karen Stannard. And that was pretty wicked. Hands and feet and face, like wheezing, lungs. That was a tough one. We stayed in 11 minutes though, swimming, which was pretty cool. That was exciting. But it doesn't feel that bad. It's the forehead for me, like the brain freeze. That is the toughest. I got to put a little mini pad or something inside my swim cap. Some kind of little thin insulation or something. Wow, it's wicked. Anyways, okay, now I'm ready for the day.